Hi, and welcome to this session of the I Am Mom Summit. I am thrilled to have you join me today. My name is Erica Miller, and I'm going to be talking about getting to the heart, strategies to support children with special needs. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about myself. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of awesome, amazing children, and some of them happen to have some special needs, have some struggles in their life that I didn't have, but that's forced me to become a better person or to engage at least some different strategies in my life. I'm an avid learner. I love learning. So when I learned that my kids had some special needs, I started learning, I started researching, and I started gaining as many tools as I could to help them. And it has opened up a world of possibilities for them and for me. And I wanted to share with you some of the strategies that have helped me and have changed my life and changed my home. Our home is night and day difference from what it used to be. We used to have anger and rage and throwing things and breaking things and all sorts of hard things, which can be common when you are dealing with a child that has some special needs, whether that be sensory processing, autism, ODD, or even ADHD. Children who have hard things in their lives have hard times interacting in families, and we want to help them have the best life they can and have the most tools they can have so they can be happy and successful. And I'm thrilled to get to share with you some of those tools. We're gonna jump in with some of the things. It's a research-based class, so if I get a little too sciencey, just pause, zone out for 2 seconds, and jump right back in. I'll have strategies for you, and I'm gonna explain it as well as I can. But understanding what's happening inside your child's brain and inside their heart will change the way you interact with them. It's a powerful tool and a powerful resource that I wouldn't share with you if I didn't think it would help you. So I'm gonna give you some research. We're gonna understand what's going on, then we're gonna try to look inside ourselves and be the type of person we need to be. And then we're gonna step out of that and we're gonna be able to do. We have to understand, be, and then we can do things to help our children. So let's jump in, let's understand what's happening in these children's lives. Special needs all have some things in common, whether it be oppositional defiant, whether it be autism, whether it be sensory processing, whatever the issue your child may have or the child you may work with has, there are a couple things in common with them. These children typically have a narrow range of optimal functionality, right? If everything goes perfectly to plan, if everything is just right, they are good to go. They're golden, they're angels. They might be a little quirky sometimes. They might have an obsession with water and they might need to play in water all day long. Or they might really like jumping on things. And so they might be jumping lots. But their behaviors aren't problematic. They're just sweet and cute. But when something doesn't go to plan or something stresses them out, they don't handle it well. They don't have a widely developed range of functionality in a stressful situation. They're highly sensitive to stress or stimulus. And optimal, it's hard to get that in my brain because I'm like, it's not a stressful situation. This is not hard. But noise can be a stress to a child who has a sensory processing disorder. Lack of noise, silence, can be incredibly difficult for a child who is a sensory seeker. Textures on fabrics can be really difficult. A child may not be able to communicate well and they might not be able to say what's happening inside of them, and that might create even more stress. They might feel stressed out because mom is busy. They might feel stressed out because there's something on the mirror, there's a spot on the mirror. I don't know what stresses your child. Those are some stresses that I've seen at my house and at other locations. Stimulus, stress, all of those things can impact a child. Whether they're good stresses or bad stress, it impacts a child. And it impacts them and takes them out of their groove, out of their zone, their optimal zone of performance and behavior. In sports psychology and in trauma research and in a lot of different places, researchers have developed an arousal continuum. I'm going to show you right here, flip it up on the screen, an excitement continuum that helps me understand what's going on in my kids. On one side of the continuum, you'll see asleep, drowsy. That's when kids, like when you're relaxed, you're totally just at peace within your body. Nothing's happening, you're on the sleep. as we add more stimulus, as we wake up, we become hypo-alert. Think of being kind of like glazed over. You're in a meeting and you can hear what's happening and you're sort of paying attention, but not really, or your kid is asking you something and you're not really fully conscious yet. You're there, but you're not focused on them. In the center is calmly focused. That is our optimal range. We want to expand calmly focused, and we want to expand that as large as possible. Hyper alert is when you are starting to get a little bit anxious. You're a little over focused on something. I can tell when my kids are getting hyper alert when their eyes get bigger. Their eyes widen. They start focusing on things. Their movements get a little jerky. They're a little more compulsive about things. Hyper alert. They're still functional and they're still almost okay, but their mannerisms are starting to get a little quirky. If you happen to have a child who likes things in order, likes to put their crayons in rainbow order, and they start to be hyper alert, they might have to keep reordering them. If a child moves their crayon, they might have to put it right back. Okay, that's in a hyper alert stage. If you add any more stress to that child who's already in a hyper alert stage, they move into a flooded stage. When a child is flooded, they move out of the rational part of their brain. Even in hyper alert, they're sending back into the more primitive parts of the brain. When they're in flooded, they're all the way back. They are not rational. They're not smart. It's not, whatever you say doesn't make sense. You can be like, honey, let's put the crayons away. And instead of putting crayons away, you take them and break them and throw them. This doesn't work for me, right? I hope you haven't seen that. I've seen it all the time. If you see it, okay, embrace it, own it. A little bit of peace. You're working with a child who is flooded, who is overwhelmed, who's stressed out, and they can't handle their life. It's sad, but that's what happens. The goal always is to expand that calmly focused range so a child can have more time to enjoy their life and to have more strategies so when they start to move into hyper alert, they can move back into calm focus. We all do this. And I want you to think about yourself for a second. And I want you to think about how, when you get a little stressed out, what you do. I'm going to give an example from me and my life, what I do, and then I'm going to give an example from my husband's life. For me, when I get a little stressed out, I need some music and I need some running. Okay, you might not be able to tell that I used to be a runner, but I need a little bit of movement. I need a little bit of exercise. I settle everything. I'm a little stressed out. I go jog around the block and I'm like, oh, I've got that, right? I can handle life again. I'm settled. I'm back to focused and life is good. Okay, my husband, he was in a car accident a while ago and it had a concussion and it messed up his brain a little bit. I so sympathized with him because he experienced all of the symptoms of a person who has a sensory processing disorder. He could not filter out sounds and noises. He would be in a meeting and, people are chatting around. The meeting hasn't quite started yet. There's a conversation over here and there's a conversation over here. And he would have to get up and walk out because his brain couldn't sort out who was talking in what conversation and how to turn down the volume on the conversation that wasn't essential for him. Then he'd come back in and he'd be good to go. Those are some great strategies for an adult to use to walk out, to give themselves exactly what they need, to come back and be ready to be calmly focused. The problem comes when we're working with a child is that the strategies that we use as adults don't always work for children. If I had a child who was stressed out and was angry and then ran out the door and started running, you can bet I would chase after them, make sure they weren't going to be hit by a car and make sure that they were going to be safe. Same strategy I just used to help me feel better, but since a child was doing it, it wasn't safe. And it's hard. It was a good strategy. It was a great try. Not an appropriate behavior for them at that point, even though it was a perfect coping tool. Same thing with my husband, feeling overwhelmed, walking out of a meeting that was just where he couldn't process out the information that he needed to. Again, perfect strategy for an adult. He can rationally say, hey, this is overwhelming, I have to walk out. For a child, we don't always give them the luxury of the strategies and the tools that they need. So that puts a burden on my shoulder as an adult and as a caregiver to be able to recognize where they are at on the spectrum, on this excitement continuum. So I can say, oh, my child is hyper alert right now. They are moving to the place where they're going to be flooded. Can I, instead of them choosing a tool that I wish they would not choose, can I offer a tool that they would like? Can I offer, if they're overwhelmed by the noise, can I offer to take them out of the room and let them sit quietly for a while? Can I offer something else that would be a little bit different? Those are tools that we can use by just being aware. I am a firm believer that quirky mannerisms become negative behaviors when children are flooded. I'm going to say that again. Quirky mannerisms become negative behavior when children are flooded. The things that they do, like if a child needs order, it's okay. A child can need order. But when they're flooded, order is so paramount and so essential that they can't not have order. And they have negative behaviors. An OCD child might need things in order a little bit, right? We're talking about order. When they're stressed and when they're flooded, they might choose to create order by washing their hands over and over again. It's a quirky behavior, but because they're stressed out, they act in a way that it becomes a negative behavior. We want to step out of that. Some of the researchers have found some really profound insights about this excitement continuum. They found that when children and adults are calmly focused, that we have a specific self-talk, and our physiology, our mannerisms have one set. Let me give an example. When I'm calmly focused and I'm given a task to do, like stacking 10 Legos, I might be able to be like, boom, 10 Lego stacks, it's gonna take me like 5 seconds. I got this. I can do this. I'm powerful. I feel confident in myself. I feel like I'm okay. I'm gonna be settled. I'm gonna get on my task, and it's not gonna be a problem, whatever. Researchers have found that when we move out of the calmly focused area and we move into flooded, everything changes. Our brain changes. We move from the prefrontal cortex into our primitive brains in the back of our brains. Logic and rationality stop working. We become reactive or non-responsive. Now, our feelings are bigger. We might feel annoyed in calmly focused. In flooded, we feel rage. We feel anger. It's big and it's ugly. We also change our self-talk. In our self-talk, when we're in flooded, we hear words in our head like, I'm broken, I'm bad, I can't do this, I can't do anything right. No one wants their children to feel this. No one wants anyone to feel this. I never want my child to experience flooded emotions, because I don't want them to ever believe or conceptualize that they're broken or that they're bad or that they can't do something. They are wonderful children. They can do anything if they have the right tools, the right strategies, and the right support put in place. I hope you understand kind of what it's like to feel inside a child who has a special need. I hope you feel a little more compassion for what they're going through, and a little bit more like, wow, I need to do this. I need to own my part and how I can help my kid. Are you guys ready for this? Okay. This is the part that's always hardest for me. We understand, now we get to be. And being is the one part that I think about it, I just kind of want to throw up. Because let's be honest, I'm a mom. I work, I have children who go to school, I have a husband who works, I have kids who are in sports, I have all sorts of things going on in my life, and you want me to be. Okay, so what do I want you to be? So take a second, pause. I need you to be the mirror of the energy you want your child to have. I need you to be a mirror, okay? When we look in a mirror, we see what we are. So I need you to take a second and look in your own mirror. I need you to own the chaos that happens in you. Me, that's running to the grocery store, getting all my errands done, taking care of the things that I have. You can see my eyes going up here, and I'm listing all the things that I'm ignoring because I'm doing something else right now, right? They're always on my shoulder. It's a backpack that I carry. There's a little bit of stress, and if I look at it, I'm like, wow, pause. I'm hyper alert right now. When I think about all of the things I have to do and all of the things I need to be, I'm hyper alert. No wonder my kid is hyper alert. That's what they're doing. They're mirroring me. There's this concept in science called mirror neurons. And it's something that we do automatically as we're raising children. You get a baby, you hold up a baby, you're like, oh, la, 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 and the baby goes, ah, la, la, la. And it's adorable. And we go, ma, and the baby goes, ma, right? It happens. We do it every day. We hang out with a girlfriend or a good friend, and all of a sudden we start having their same mannerisms. I am so excited. I have a friend who does that. She's so adorable. I love this, right? I hang out with her a little bit, and all of a sudden my kids are like, Mom, who have you been hanging out with? Okay, yeah, I've been hanging out with my friends. That's totally cool. That's science at work. We as human beings are meant to mirror each other. So let's use that mirror as a tool. That is the most powerful tool you have in changing your child's life, is on a subconscious level, by being what you want them to be. But it's not easy. So we're gonna take a moment, sit with it, honor your stress, see your stress, and let it go. And see how you can move to calmly focused. Right? We're not gonna let their stress pull us out of our calmly focused. We're gonna stay there. So in this next part, you guys, all of these strategies will help your child stay calmly focused, but really they're tools for you too. So I want you to think of these as not just things that can help your child, but they can also help you be in a calm, focused place so you can feel happy. Now, I've said calm, focused a lot. That's what I call my central point. Other people call this range a different type of a range. Some people call it self-regulation. It's a big topic in education and in research, and especially with children who have experienced trauma, and helping special needs children and getting regulated, feeling self-regulated. I want to explain what that looks like. So when I say feeling regulated, these are regulating activities that you can understand what I'm talking about. To be regulated means that as you experience stress and stimulus, that you can stay within that calm, focused zone. I want you to think of a pendulum, like the pendulum is swinging back and forth. And somebody might knock your pendulum, but you can recover really quickly and stay right here instead of swinging big. We see that a lot in overreactive children and kids who have problems, or even, hey, me as an adult, I'm doing okay, I'm doing just fine. Somebody bothers me, I'm not okay, I'm doing just fine, right? We want to stay in the I'm doing just fine as long as possible and stay out of the hyper alert, flooded areas, okay? So all of these activities that I'm going to talk about, all of these strategies we're going to talk about, are tools that you can use to help stay here in the I'm doing okay and calmly focused, right where I am. And there are tools that you can also use when you're hyper alert to switch back into calmly focused. As you use these tools not only expand the zone of calmly focused, so you might start with a calm focus zone that's this big, but as you do this and exercise that muscle, the capacity grows, so that calm focus gets bigger, right? We want that big area of where you can stay and feel good. And it also changes the resiliency, your ability to have stress. Instead of just being reactive and moving to hyper alert or flooded with one stimulus, we can experience 10 or 20 or 30 stimuluses or stressful situations or moments, things that are happening all at the same time, and we'll still be able to stay in a calmly focused, or we'll be able to move back really quickly. One of the struggles with a special needs child is that because of how they are developing right now, they're not always able to move back to calm focused without adult interaction. They need you. They need you to be exactly where they are, to help them and walk them through it, how to get back to calm focused. It's like leading somebody on a path and say hey, calm down. Thank you. I would love to go to calm down, but which path? Do I turn right? Do I turn left? Do I go through the stoplight? How do I get there? So these are ways to help a child get back to calm focus. Okay, so let's move into some of the things that we can do. I love all of these activities that I'm going to suggest because they do a lot of things for you. Not only do they widen the zone of calm focus, and they also increase your resiliency to be able to move back and forth and stay within that calm focus zone. They also change the way the brain works. I love changing the brain because we want to give the kids tools that will help them throughout their entire life. And so these are tools that change the way the brain works so they won't have to deal with it for the rest of their life. They might have to still, but they'll have the tools that they need to be successful. Okay, the first thing that we're gonna do, and this is another deep breath, mama, is we're gonna simplify. If we're looking to find what calmly focused looks like for your child, you have to get them to calmly focused. So take some time and figure out how much you can remove from their life, simplify from their life so they can feel calm. So you can see what that looks like. See what it feels like for them to just have quirky mannerisms instead of negative behaviors. See if you can feel that. It's harder. It can be hard. Embrace that. Say, you can put that on your list, or you can say, maybe I'll do that in next year. But think about that. Own it. Tuck it away somewhere. It might be something that you'd like to try. Simplify so you can see what calm focus looks like. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to learn to co-regulate with them. That means you are going to practice that mirroring action. You're going to sit with them and you're going to do things with them, and you're going to mirror the behavior you want them to have. You're going to mirror that energy, that calm. So when I'm presenting a presentation, I kind of talk fast because I want you to be interested and I want you to be focused on me and not worrying about what's happening behind me, right? There's a book back there. You could look at that book, but you're so excited by looking at me that you want that. That's not what I want when I'm working with a child. When I'm working with a child and trying to help them feel calm and focused, I'm going to slow down my talking. I'm going to slow down my mannerisms. I'm going to be a pool of still water. I'm going to engage in things that help me feel peace and help them feel peace as well. That's co-regulating. Can you feel how the energy just kind of dropped? Okay, we'll go back to more exciting, because this is a presentation and you're learning right now, and we don't have to feel calm. We can feel calm focused, but I'm not trying to co-regulate a child who is on the high end. Okay, so in co-regulating, you're going to mirror exactly what the behavior you want them to have, and they're going to subconsciously end up doing it. It's the coolest thing ever. I'm so happy that science worked that way for me. And then you're going to add in some activities that will benefit the brain. The first set of activities that benefits the brain that I'm going to show you guys or tell you guys about are sensory activities. Sensory activities activate multiple regions of the brain. When you're seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, you are activating not just the right hemisphere or the left hemisphere, but you're activating the frontal cortexes in the back, and we're just firing up and lighting up the brain. We want a brain lit up so the brain can begin to heal and begin to have blood flowing in all sorts of areas and chemicals changing. We want that. So sensory activities generally can be fine motor or smaller things, and we want to engage all the different tastes and touches and feels. So you can do sand or water or sequin pillows, dirt. You guys, I'm sure, have had children who eat dirt and play in dirt. Yeah, that's a beautiful sensory activity. Enjoy it. Go play in dirt. I actually once had a whole dirt pile just for my kids. Here it is. I partitioned off a whole area in the garden where they could just dig to their heart's content, and they'd roll in it and they'd stomp in it. I'd say, done. I didn't even give them a bath. I just brushed them off because they liked the feel of dirt on their skin. Not me. Not something I would want, but something they might want. You can do big bins of rice and let kids play in big bins of rice or beans. There are water beads. I'm sure you guys have seen those online. They're really fun to play with. Super soothing, super calming, sorting, playing, feeling. Anything that allows a child to touch different types of textures will help them be able to light up different areas of their brain. Now, a caution, if you have a child who is a sensory avoider, that means they're super sensitive to sensory, you might need to find some ones that don't bother them so much, and then they'll build resiliency and they'll be able to add more. If you have a child who is a sensory seeker and loves all the sensory, they might get a little wild with it. So plan for that. Give it a little bit of a containment zone so it's not a problem for you, okay? And by all means, get down and play with them, right? Sit down, get a big thing of water and just pour water into the sink and pour water into the sink. Enjoy that. It's something that's soothing for everyone. Or if your kid's in the bath, just play with it and mirror again what you want them to be. Those are sensory activities. The next thing you can try is pattern repetitive. And pattern repetitive is my joy. It is how I self-regulate. It's how I feel peace. Pattern repetitive is generally, it starts with a large muscle group. Think clapping, drumming, running, scootering, biking. All of those use large motor muscles, and they're all repetitive. When you're cycling a bike, you have to keep pedaling, and you generally pedal in rhythm. When you swim and you swim like you're lap swimming, think about how you feel. Like it's repetitive, it's rhythmic, it's in motion. It's like that running long distances or even short distances. It's patterned, repetitive. You're moving, clapping, bouncing. Oh, one of my favorite things to do when I'm working with a child who needs some movement is to take them outside and bounce a ball with them, just around a path, just bouncing a ball over and over in a rhythm. I recognize that I choose that because I love it. I feel so peaceful when I'm doing it. Those rhythms duplicate how we felt in utero, the rhythms of our mother's walking, the rhythm of our mother's heartbeats, the rhythm of the world around us. Get them on a swing, get them rocking. All of those things, because they mirror a place where we were safe and a place where we were good, it's beautiful. Not only do we feel that safety and security, or we can feel safety and security there, but it also triggers the brain to be able to create ordered neural pathways. So sometimes in our brains, we have a scattered way to get to something. I saw this a lot in my husband after his concussion. He was trying to think of words and his words didn't come to the tip of his tongue very fast. And that was because when you have a concussion, your brain begins to form pathways that aren't logical or aren't in order. And you kind of have to go through a maze to get to your thought. Children who have experienced trauma or children with different processing disorders, their brains process things differently, and you may have to go through a maze to get to a point. So the pattern repetitive activity trains the brain to be able to get logical, smooth flowing neural pathways. It's a beautiful tool. Couple more activities. Aerobic exercise. I know we've talked about that a little bit with the large muscle groups, but think about all the different types of exercise that you guys can do together. Jumping jacks, running, jumping, squatting, skipping. All of those types of things create a fantastic chemical in the brain called BDNF. BDNF is the chemical that is responsible for neural plasticity. That means that your brain is malleable and bendable and able to change. If we want kids to be able to change, we need to have their hearts pumping and their brains developing this chemical, BDNF. It's fantastic. Get kids moving, okay? The last tool that you can use is deep breathing. I don't know if you can imagine having your child deep breathe with you. It's kind of awkward to think about that, but there's healing that comes as you fill your lungs with oxygen. And as you inhale deeply and exhale deeply, you're filling your lungs with oxygen, you're filling your body, you're flushing out toxins. There's lots of beautiful things that happen with that in relaxing the body and the nervous system. It can be hard to train a child or teach a child to breathe deeply. You can do that through yoga or meditation, but I have a favorite teaching tool. My favorite teaching tool is singing. When we sing, we breathe in, and then we have to breathe out and we have to breathe in phrases because it doesn't quite make sense. Especially when you're breathing as a group, you begin to fire the mirror neurons, and everybody starts breathing together and exhaling together. It's a powerful tool, singing. Try that. We do that with our children all the time. We do that with infants. We sing little nursery rhymes and little stories with them. Invite them to do it with you. It's a great tool. You guys, as kids develop the stamina, as they use these tools, they will have more stamina to be able to stay in this calm, focused area. As adults, we'll be able to stay in a calm, focused area, and we'll be able to help them be their best self. I am so grateful that you spent some time with me today. I hope you remember some of the things and can think of maybe one or two things that you want to try out. I hope you understand how your kids are feeling, and I hope you understand how you can help them be their best selves. Moms, you've got this. You are powerful. You can do this. Feel the power and feel the joy that will be yours as you embrace calm focus and as you love your children. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.